So SPY was moving up today. We're going to take a look to see if I was able to sell that call today. It's been a little while and I've owned these shares for almost 2 weeks now, but I've been patient and waiting for SPY to move back up, and let's just see where it actually went today. Hello, my friends, this is Legend. So today, SPY did move up. Now I've got my lines here drawn, and this is yesterday's low and yesterday's high. And as you can see, that was including the pre-market today. So I had those lines set at a roughly 690 for the high and a 680 for that low. And you can see when it started coming out, it actually went past that high of 690, and it was actually using it as a place to bounce. But honestly, I didn't know if it was going to stay up above that 690 or if it was going to start moving back down, because as you can see, the day before, that's what happened, right? It came up, hit that 690 right here, and then just fell right on back down to that low for that previous day. Now I've been using this here for the last few days, right? This 680 area, that has been the low for the last few days. But I had that 690 right here as that high, and then it also created that same high for the pre-market for today. But when it came out, it actually came out on top of that high. So I went ahead and I sold a call, not knowing if it's going to stay up here or drop back down. So I did not want to miss that opportunity. So let's take a look at that order. And right here it is. That's that call that I did sell. And I sold it. It's a day trade, right? So it has an expiration of today. I sold a 692 call. And that's one contract, and it was filled. And I earned $1.51 times that 100 shares. So that's 151 bucks that I did make on the premium for selling that call. Now, the question is, will I get my shares called away? Well, as you know, I will not know if those shares are called away until the morning when they do update my account. Now you can see that it did close above that 692. It closed at 693.15. So it's possible that I could have my shares called away. But since I had that strike at 692 and I earned $1.50, that's 693.50. Okay, so at the close, it's not quite above that closing price plus the premium. So it may not have been called away. But one part that does lead me to believe that they might actually be called away is because in the after hours, this one here actually went as high as 695.33. You can see it right there. Now, what time did that happen? Well, that happened at about 4:35. So that is still under that 5:30, since today is that expiration date. And the buyer has up until 5:30 to actually make that decision. It is very possible that my shares could get called away because it did move all the way up to 695.33. But I will not know if it actually does or not until tomorrow when my account gets updated. But either way, I made $1.50 off of that premium. And if those shares are called away, well, I own those shares at $6.86. So that is a difference of about $6, right? Because my strike is $6.92 and I own them at $6.86. That $6 difference, that means $6 times 100. That is $600 in price appreciation. So in total, I could stand to make $751 off of this trade if it does get called away. If they do not get called away, I still made the $1.50, and I will get to keep my shares if they're not called away, and I'll be able to look to hopefully sell another call tomorrow. Since it did move up after hours, my guess is my shares will be called away. But either way, I'm good with that because that is a nice price appreciation. And I will just wait for another down day to sell another put. And if we look at that options chain on today, like I said, I had 692 and you can see it was $4.34 at that time. So I think it's pretty safe to say that my shares are probably called away, but I will find out in the morning. But let's just go ahead and let's enter that into my covered call tracker. So I'm going to enter into today's date, and that's 2/25. And what is the ticker? That is SPY. My purchase price, that was $6.86 as I stated before, and this would be a covered call. My strike price that I did sell that call at was $6.92, as you saw on that order form, and the expiration was today as well. What was the premium that I actually earned? And that amount was $1.51. And the fees that it did charge me to sell that call was 6 cents. How many contracts? It was 1 contract. So as you can see, the total capital used is $68,600. And that is simply my purchase price times 100 shares, right? Because that is what I own SPY at. And I'm not going to consider this one closed yet because I am not sure if it actually did close. But just for fun, let's go ahead and let's just assume that it does get closed. And let's find out what that does move my total amount earned up here to, along with how much did I net on that profit. So let's just go ahead and flip this one to closed. And the close date would be the same date, right? Because it was a day trade. And the current premium to close, well, I let it go to expiration, so there is no cost to close that. And the fees to close it, of course, that would be 0 as well. So as you can see right here is $150.94 because I did have that $1.51 times 100, which is $151 minus my fee of 6 cents to open it, takes it to $150.94. Now, since it did close up above my strike of $6.92, and we're going to assume that those shares are called away, so we'll select yes right here. And as you can see, it tells us that our price appreciation is $600 because it is the difference between my strike and the price that I purchased them at $6 per share times 100 shares is $600. So therefore, the net that I did earn is $750.94. That's $600 plus the $150 I earned on the premium, totaling $750. So the amount that I did earn off of this play alone is about 1%. And that's a day trade, right? 1% in a day, that's pretty good money, right? Now you'll see that this here, I'm getting an error for the week, month, and year projections. And that is simply because it's looking for that difference of the date. And since it was a day trade, the close date minus the open date is 0. Therefore, it cannot divide by 0. That's why I'm getting this error. Let me go ahead and change that now. And there we go. So we have a 1% off of just this trade alone. And then we have the weekly projected calculated amount of 7.6% for a week. Wow, that's pretty nice, right? And then calculating that out for a month, that's 33%. And then for a year would be 399%. Not too bad, right? That's some good money. You're not going to get that at the bank for sure, right? But that is a really good percentage on my money. And like I said, if they are taken away come tomorrow, then that's a total of $750 in my account. And if they're not taken away, that is still $150 put into my account. And I can look to sell another call tomorrow if we have another up day. So as you can see, not too bad, right? And currently I have a monthly percentage income of about 15% for the month. And that is assuming that those shares do get called away. The TJX here, this one is still good up until March the 6th. But with the current price of TJX being above that strike of 146, this one here is in the money and could be called away. But as it does get closer, I may roll this one right on up to 147, but we'll see as the time goes. But wow, SPY just had a nice pop up today. So I took advantage of that, sold that call, got the premium, and hopefully got some price appreciation. And if this thing falls back down, you know exactly what I'll be doing tomorrow. Selling that put if those shares did get called away. I love selling those puts and calls. It is a nice and easy way to make some good money if you're using a stock that over time goes up. So even though it was down, I was not worried. And sure enough, it did pop back up. I sold my call and hopefully I've just made some nice price appreciation. So if you'd like to get notified whenever I do make my trades, I did notify my Discord members of the potential call that I was going to be selling on SPY. I sent that out ahead of time, and when it did go through, I did send that receipt that it was filled. So if you'd like to get a little bit more heads up on some trades that I am making, come on over, join the Discord. The link will be in the descriptions and in the pinned comments below. So I think I'm going to wrap it up right there. If you don't mind, hit that subscribe button and smash the like button. It would be much appreciated. And as always, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence before you get into any stock plays. And until next time, Legend out.